WhiskyJason here, whiskey from the viewpoint of an American in Germany tasting rare and exotic whiskeys. Now, this is not that rare, but I might be the first one who actually has done a review about this. This is the Glendronach Cask Strength Batch 8. Now, this is 61% ABV. Wow. Whiskey base 138758, and this is a mixture of oloroso and PX Pedro Ximénez casks. And this is a 10-year-old expression. Wow. Thank you, Rachel Berry. Very well done. Now, I have a little question on Rachel, and anyone else out there that can answer this is, why is this 61%? Batch 1 was 54.8. Batch 2 was 55.2. Batch 3 was 54.9. Batch 5 was 54.7. Batch 4 was 54.7. Batch 5 was 55.3. So everything within like one ABV, all right? And then it started to creep up. Batch 6, 56.1, batch 7, 57.9, and batch 8, 61.1. Why? Now, I know many of you out there might go, more alcohol is better. Actually, it's not, in my personal opinion. Now, this is a 10-year-old expression, which is also fairly new. Usually, they were all no-age statements so far, according to my knowledge, which I'm not very good at. And at least with Glendronach, I personally love Glendronach. My whiskey of the year 2017 was a 1992 single cask from Glendronach. Beautiful, beautiful bottlings. As you can see behind me, I have the 21, the Parliament, I have the Allardyce, the 18, I have here the 15, which I'm going to compare it with, I have a 12 back there, and so on. And so I like my Glendronachs. So this is one of the best whiskeys the best distillery I've had, and I've been a little bit, I'm fairly new to the party, so I've been doing whiskey now for the last 3.5 some odd years. And the old stuff was definitely better. I'm so sorry to say so, but that's the way it is. So I'm going to be very, very unfair, and I'm going to compare a cask strength whiskey with a 15-year-old revival. So let's just put this over here. Nice. All right, so this is 61%, this is 46%. As I said, if anyone can tell me why the ABV has actually gone up so much in the last couple of years, that would be very nice to know. This is a yearly release. So this is the 8th year in a row. So it started around 2012, I think, actually. It wasn't 2011, but that's all right. Rachel Berry took over as master blender after Billy Walker sold his Glendronach, his Ben Riach, and his Glenglassaugh distilleries on to Brown-Forman. Brown-Forman has now turned them into a wonderful place to work, I hope, as well as an interesting place to actually get the bottles from. The design has not changed that much. Now, it still looks very, very, for me, classic. I love the gold here. That really does pop in comparison to the green here, but that's okay. Product of Scotland, very nice. Here, exactly matured in the finest Pedro Ximénez and oloroso sherry casks from Spain, and here it says, oh, it doesn't say that. It says, richly sherried, matured in the finest Pedro Ximénez and oloroso sherry casks bottled at natural cask strength, product of Scotland. All right, so now on the nose, which I don't get, is this what I usually get by great old PX Glendronach, is this raisin, this really deep fig and dates and raisins and so on. I'm getting a little bit of like a sweet sour moment. I'm getting more of a plum. I'm getting more of a rhubarb here, which has that sour, the acidity added onto there. But it is a very, very nice nose. I would not at all ever guess that this is 61% from the nose. This has a more of a sweeter, rounded moment over here. So, cilantro. The 61% kicks you in the face. Says, hello, here I am, and I'm going to stay for a little while. Wow. Now, slowly but surely, the alcohol fades away, and we're left with a fairly decent aftertaste here, finish. Now this finish is still more sweet than sour, but there's a little bit of a sour element in there. As I said, a little bit of rhubarb, a little bit of a melon, a little bit of a the plum is in there as well. Nice, but not exactly what I would expect. If you could give me a Tamdhu batch strength, I think I'd prefer that. The Glenfarclas 105. I'm not sure if I'd prefer it or not, but it'd be half the price, and therefore it would win with value for money. The Abadau. Eric Waite recently had this on the show, and he was doing a little bit of initial tasting with this. This is so sherry goodness. I just love this. I don't have that many, actually, at the moment, sherry bombs at cask strength. Glengarry, 15-year-old, with 53.7%. An old one, but a good one. Very, very nicely done. Let's go to the 15 real quick. What I'm getting on the new 15 Revival, news after 2018, is a little bit of a roller coaster. First of all, it comes in sweetness, and there's astringency, a little bit of the wood, the tannins. The sweetness comes back, and the astringency tries to take over. And towards the end, you just get a balanced out moment here. Finish is absolutely great here. A little bit longer than this. Something I didn't really like was the finish here. It wasn't as long as I expected it to be, even though it is 10 years old. All right, put a little bit of water in here, dilute it down to about 52%. The nose kicks in a lot more. There's a lot more of that plum moment. A little bit of figs are in that together with that plums, but I'm still not getting my raisin like I liked it with my old single casks Glendronachs. The sweetness with a lot of water, or enough water, dissipates. I'm left with a woody tannin astringency, a tiny little touch of sourness as well. As I keep on saying, rhubarb. It just doesn't really do it for me. I would much rather have an old cask strength, batch 4 or 5 or 6, which I've had before. Those were much better in my opinion. Maybe my memory just glorifies them, but I remember them being not as spicy hot as they are now. Even still today, this is still hot. I'm getting on the left and right hand side of my tongue, I'm getting a candied orange peel, which is still a little bit bitter. On the back of my tongue, I get a chocolate, woody darkness. Very well done. But the front of my tongue, especially towards the lips and the front of my tongue, it's just an alcohol numbness. And that's just a shame that this whiskey actually does that to my mouth. My recommendation is you actually try to identify zones in your mouth, maybe the top of your gums, maybe your cheeks, maybe your tongues, left, right, middle, center, front, back, and you just notice how they taste different aspects of a whiskey. It really is important to be able to do that, and to be able to actually to then combine those tastes together to see what's happening in here. So this Glendronach, even though I've been banging on it the whole time and saying, hey, it's not a great whiskey, it's still a C+ whiskey in my book. Value for money is more of a C minus. A, why haven't you bought it? B, buy it. C, you can buy it. D, you don't need to buy it. F, why was this even made? So this is, as I said, a C+ whiskey. It's not bad. It's not bad for your buck, but I'd rather have something else. As I said, the Abalawa is really my go-to whiskey if I want to have a sherry cask bomb. Glenfarclas 105 is hard to beat as a value for money. And also the Tamdhu batch strength. Those are also very interesting bottles if you can get them. Thank you very much for watching. My videos come out about 3 times a week, usually on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Thank you very much for liking, for subscribing, for telling others about this crazy guy in Europe tasting whiskey before you can find it, or whiskey you probably will never ever be able to find if it's rare and exotic. All the best. Bye-bye.